On episode 61, we're talking about making 2017 the best year yet. Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to the 88 Show. This is the internet's only dental show where we are answering marketing's most important questions. That's what we do here. My name's Joshua Scott and this is episode number 61. Happy 2017. Glad to get into the new year here. If you've watched the show before, man, you just noticed all the new graphics, branding, bumper. Man, that bumper is tight. Jay Moore and these guys working on it. Actually, Jay Moore and Ratcliffe back here coming together, working on new music, new branding, new graphics. I think it looks amazing, if you ask me.
What's up?
Hey, how are you?
What's going on?
How much?
The fan that was here?
It's probably back here in this room. Yeah. Unfortunately, our office flooded right after the holiday break. That Tuesday after New Year's Day, I came in here and there's about 2 inches of water everywhere. And so we just got the place put together yesterday. Fortunately, no kind of long-term damage, but it took about 2 weeks just to get everything dried out and put back together. So Stanley Steamer is here trying to find his fan. Yes, I got in here yesterday. We put it right here.
Okay.
It could be over in their storage area. You could just go upstairs and ask them. I know lots of people have been in and out of here.
Gotcha. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no sweat. No sweat at all. We love interruptions around here. But beginning of the new year, wanted to get an episode out. Hopefully you're having a great start to the year. Hopefully you had an amazing end to 2016. But today's episode wanted to take a shot at how I start the new year and talking about routines and habits and changes to really look at 2017 and hopefully make it your best year ever. And so as I start to think through it, there was a quote that sticks out to me that the quality of your life is in the quality of your questions. Bam, tweet that junk. So that's how I approach this year. It's actually less about goals and probably change so much as it is about questions and habits and experiences. And so I thought I'd just share with you my 5 kind of questions, my 5 parts of starting a new year and looking at that. Some of them are personal, some of them are business, and see if that helps you in planning your year as well. So let's look at those. So how I start my year, number 1, the 2 big questions. And I kind of was sharing these in the last episode of the year, back in episode 60, but I ask myself these 2 questions every single year, at the end of the year and at the start. And number 1 is, what was my biggest change in 2016? When I look back, I'm analyzing last year, what was the biggest change that I made in 2016? And sometimes it's something that happens and it's kind of out of our control, but a lot of times it's a change that's intentional. And for me, when I look back last year, one of the biggest changes for me was just probably here in the business of becoming just more leadership focused, like less on the work and more of leading a team. And we've been hiring staff and team members. And so transitioning more into that role was very intentional, very kind of thought through, and almost like this is going to happen. And here's some things that will help do that. And so that's question number 1. What was the biggest change? And then question 2 that goes with that, what's the biggest change I'm going to make in 2017? And so looking ahead and becoming intentional about knowing that if I stop and I stay here, I decline. Things start to go backwards. If you're not growing and moving forward and changing, then you're just standing still. And so what is it that I'm going to intentionally change in 2017 to get me the result that I'm looking for? And we can talk about this probably later on in another episode, but this year, it's going to sound really kind of simple and crazy and maybe even silly, but it's my morning routine. Just changing my morning routine around to start the day off better, more inspired, and in the right direction that I need to head for the day. So that's number 1, 2 big questions for the year. All right, so number 2, how I start my year is the calendar. So the second big thing that I work on at the beginning of the year is the calendar, because everything is based around that. And right now, the 2017 calendar is done. It's just done. In fact, my wife is in the office today. Do you think we could bring her in for a second?
Absolutely.
Hey, come here. First appearance on the 88 show. Everybody, this is my wife, Joanna. Yay! You can shake my hand? We can
I'll
shake
your
hands. That is awesome.
Josh.
Yeah. Step over here a little bit towards me because I know we just pick you up on the microphone. I'm talking about calendaring, and you happen to be in here today, but it's definitely something we do as a family. I mean, I have to do it for business, and you have to do it for what you do, but we also, like this Friday, we're getting together. We have a breakfast meeting set Friday morning at our favorite place, but we're going to talk calendar for the year.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, it's an important value.
for sure. You could have calendared this in.
Nice. She's a funny one, this girl. Yeah, for sure. But it's like we're literally talking about like trips. I mean, you may take a trip with your sister. I may take a trip for my 40th, vacations. I mean, all that stuff. Like we're blocking it now.
Yeah, one, we have more fun together,
Yeah.
sharing life together when we plan. It helps us to build that rest in and that play time in with our kids and family and trips.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Right?
Good job.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye. See ya. That is how we calendar. And then number 3, how I start my year is reports. January for me is all about putting together reports, getting reports, analyzing reports, looking back at last year, evaluating, and then making plans for 2017, forecasting and projecting. And so there's quite a few reports I'm looking at during this time, but the first off is just the P&L and the balance sheet of the company, just kind of forecasting, looking back, did we meet our goals, forecasting 2017, where are we going to be at, adding team members along those lines, what needs to happen, and just looking at the overall health of the company. Number 2 is I always use this time to do audits. And so looking back, looking at expenses, auditing those, because it's just crazy how little expenses sneak in, and a year later you're like, why are we paying for this? And so you ought to be looking at that. Revenue, auditing that, ad spends, just the things that probably are more specific to our company. But I think every year you ought to have reports where you're auditing systems. And then last, the marketing and sales reports for the company and looking at where our new clients came from, how much we were spending, we're a marketing company, but we spend money on marketing and we evaluate it the same way we would for you. And so those are the reports I'm looking at the beginning of the year to help us forecast the coming year. So number 4, how I start my year is the 80-20 principle. It's the 80-20 principle, but really it's a variation of it that I look at, because 80-20 is like looking at the 20% of what you did that really produced 80% of the results. I kind of have a little bit of a twist on it. I literally ask myself, what are my highlights from the year? What are my highlights? What are the things I look back on in 2016 and we're just like, man, that was awesome. That was time well spent, money well spent, experiences well spent. And then I ask myself, what were the disappointments? And so when I look back at 2016, what was I really disappointed with? What did I not like? And there's not a whole lot of those, but every year there's like 2 to 3, 4, 5, and just kind of analyze those. Why? Was it under my control? Was it something we could do again? Maybe it was an experience with a client, or maybe it was something personally, but just evaluating those, trying to eliminate more of those and focus more on my highlights. And last, how I start my year is with goals. For me, it's like I said at the beginning, it's less about goals, it's more about change, it's more about questions, it's more about experiences. But that being said, I kind of, after I get through those 5 things, I usually will sit down and write some goals, and I look at them quarterly. So I'm looking at the next 90 days, because I personally find that the next month or even 2 weeks or something it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of pressure. So I kind of look at things more quarterly. What am I going to accomplish in this next quarter? And so take all that, funnel it down into goals, and that is how I start my year. Those are the 5 things I look at every year when I'm starting off to make sure that we are off and headed in the right direction. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode number 61. So excited about this year. Honestly, we're gonna keep this show going, but we've got lots of other projects in the works. I think some of them you're really gonna have some fun with. Always excited about the new clients that we get to work with. When I look back on 2016 and I see the new clients that we began relationships with and working with and ultimately friendships, it's just so amazing. And it excites me to think of who's gonna come along our path this year. The new branding of the show, you've seen already, but just trying to keep it fresh, keep it fun. These guys are so creative, so just letting them do what they do best. We've got a new project that we're excited about called #CurrentSituation. And it's more of kind of behind the scenes look at the team in action. And so the first episode is up. I'm gonna put that link down below in the show notes. It is called Flowers in the Airport, episode 1 of Current Situation. do me a favor, take a look at that. I mean, just go look at it. I mean, it's a little bit longer, probably about 6 or 7 minutes. Totally worth it, probably a little bit more entertaining, but let me know what you think about it. And then last, we're launching our website finally for the first time. It's kind of been a joke around here that we do amazing websites, but we actually don't have a website of our own. We're going to change that this year. So that is in the works, and I will let you know when that goes live, and you can give me some feedback on it. And so, guys, thanks so much for being a part of it. That is episode 61. Before I take off, question of the show: how do you start your year? Any tips, tricks, questions, habits you have? How do you start your year? I'd love to hear that. Leave me some comments, shoot me an email. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for being here.